Bumps and bruises, scratches and scrapes, some of the ingredients that a good life makes. But sorrows become success. And as we aim for the top, we will pause if we must, but we will never stop. Welcome to Simso Sessions. Hello and welcome to Simso Sessions. This is the safe space to share your stories. Tonight we are with someone who says more with her hands than with her actual voice. And in so doing, she's become a de facto voice for those who cannot speak. A direction she said she didn't choose and would not have chosen, but what she was made and purposed to do. This is her purpose. Sign language interpreter and entrepreneur Antoinette Aiken. She's my guest in the big chair tonight. Hello, friend.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine.
You're so soft-spoken.
Can't complain.
It's so funny. You say that there are people who, up until they hear you speak, did not know that you could speak.
That's so true. I get that every day. I get that every single day. If I had $1 for every time, trust me, I'd be a billionaire already.
Tony, you are such a paradox. So that statement comes amidst a backdrop of you being so bold, so brave, so staunch in defense of the purposes that you are passionate about, but yet so meek and so soft-spoken. How do those two things coexist, and how does that work?
I think my background, how I grew up, is where my meekness comes from. Mm-hmm. My father is a Jehovah's Witness, my stepmother. My mommy, she don't really go to church, but I grew up and my father would say, humility carries you through the world. And he says life is not just about you. The world doesn't revolve around you. It revolves around the people around you and even people that you don't know. So I think I always try to remain humble because of what my father taught me. Mm-hmm. It's just...
Do you feel strange speaking now without signing?
Yes.
Would you prefer to speak and sign?
Well, no, because I don't want my English to sound off, because sign language is different from English, so I might sound a little off. And people are like, oh, she sounds...
Really?
Yeah.
Some nuance in that most of us didn't know.
Yeah.
All right, okay. So, as someone who is meek, but also very bold, you've been in the news recently, which is somewhere that those of us who work in this industry do not want to be. But I saw you speak out, Tony, and that's not something you typically do. You don't take to social to talk about anything. But this was so important, a cause for you, that you had to use your voice for your community. And you say who you are is because of your community.
Correct.
Tell me about that passion and where that comes from. Growing up in a deaf home and always feeling from the time you knew yourself that you were the defenders of your parents.
Correct.
As a child.
Correct. So I was born in the late 80s, grew up in the 90s. I grew up with deaf parents. So imagine growing up in a household where you're the only one who can actually sign. Yes, I'm the only one who can sign. So,
of 3 siblings?
Well, no, before my siblings were born.
Right.
So like my father's mom couldn't sign. My stepmother's parents couldn't sign. My mom's parents or siblings couldn't sign. So anything that was discussed from wee age,
Tony.
what am I say? Mm-hmm. What am I say? And then if they have something to say, I would then have to voice it back to...
It's the first language you learn.
Correct.
Really.
It's native. I'd have to voice back to my grandparents or my aunts or cousins. So for my family, I was like this little, whoa, she's smarty, because they never learned. But I had no choice because it's my parents.
Right. And your two brothers who came after you also learned
Yes, they
how to
did.
sign, right?
The both of them can sign.
Yeah. You mentioned your stepmom. She's been in your life for the last 36,
36
37.
years.
Beautiful blended family, which is something we don't hear a lot about in Jamaica.
Correct.
There's usually some kind of, what was that like?
Well, my stepmom and my mom are very good friends. I grew up seeing my parents take trips together, going to the beach together. And I remember one day Daddy was coming to Immaculate to pick me up, and my mom was in the back and my stepmother was in the front of the car. And I was like, hey. And my friends were like, everybody in your father car? I'm like, yeah, they're my friend, man. They're friends. So I grew up in a household that even though my mom and my father split, that never stopped their friendship or their love or connection for each other, and it spilled over into love for my stepmother and love for my stepmother's kids, who are my siblings. So we're like one big happy unit. Even though mommy's not here, that they communicate with each other more than they communicate with me. So that's to show you how close,
Yeah.
we are as a family.
And you were so protective of them growing up that it wasn't until you started to go outside and experience the real world that you started to say, oh my gosh, out here not nice.
No, so.
Out here not nice. Hold it, we'll take a break. Come back, we'll talk to Tony about it on the other side. Soon be back. Back with Antoinette Aiken. You know her better as Tony. You see her signing on every major event because that's what she does. And she speaks very loudly about the things that she's passionate about. Grew up in a household now, both your parents are deaf. You are a native signer.
Correct.
And to you, you're in a perfectly normal household. And then you go outside and you remember the first conversation that you would have overheard people saying things. And the first reference that you heard that people made of deaf people, including your parents, oh God, him dumb.
Yeah, him
Dumb.
dumb. So Jaja, well, they would have said Jaja, that's what we said no. When him say, oh my God, him dumb, your father dumb, oh God, I feel sorry for you. You're okay. Things like that. It was a pity perspective, but growing up, I never had that perspective until I started going out into society, going to school. People would see my parents and them out would be like, and I'd be like, what's happening here? So growing up, I always had to defend my parents in a way that a lot of people would never even comprehend. My father, somebody would see my father, for example, and say, I never know, said that man could have looked so good. What do you mean? Is there a look to somebody who is deaf? And I would have to answer and say, it's not dumb, it's deaf. So they're
As a child.
As a child. I'm talking about 6, 7, 8. We'd go on public transportation and people would be saying the most vile things. I can't even say it on air. And I just wait. I'm serious. I just wait and wait and wait and wait. And then I just say, what you say? Or I say, and them go, you could have talk. Shut them.
So it didn't only teach you how unkind the world was, but how hypocritical.
Very hypocritical, very two-faced. People will say the nicest things in front of you, but the minute you turn your back or the minute you think you're not hearing, because that's what happens to deaf people every day. They're not hearing.
Right.
So people say all manner of evil. But if somebody's around who says, sign it to them, hello, them are going to answer you. The deaf person is going to answer you.
But your dad himself went through some stuff, Tony. Like, when he was growing up, you say they taught him to sit on his hands?
Correct. So my parents grew up in the 60s. So if we're struggling now, we can just imagine in the 1960s. And instead of teaching my parents how subjects, so math, English, literature, etc., they were taught how to speak to accommodate the hearing society. They were not allowed to sign. They would be hit on their hands. They had to sit on their hands and learn how to speak. That's what my parents went through. So the younger generation now, them have it a little bit easy because that's why them so vocal now about we must have the best interpreter, we must have quality. But my parents never had a choice. They had to do what society thought was best for them. And again, that's artist. And
You're
society.
talking about autism. Tell us what that is, Tony.
So it's basically hearing community or anybody who makes decisions on behalf of the deaf community without including them, without saying, hey, what do you need? How can we best accommodate you?
Which is discrimination.
Which is discrimination. So my parents had it rough. Had it very, very, very rough. My mother can't talk up to now. So you can just imagine. My father can speak. If he was to come here, he won't hear you. But he articulates himself very well.
So from school days now, from PTA meetings and parent-teacher consultations, even while you're defending them, you're also, you're the interpreter. At graduation, you're signing the songs. In your parent-teacher meetings, you're telling them the truth. Your teachers had a lot of respect for you because even the negative feedback that was coming about you were signing to your parents in honesty. So Tony talked too much, you're telling the truth to your parents, and a lot of the teachers respected you for that. But you also had a hard time in school because why? You were so vocal?
Vocal. The same reason why I'm having a hard time now. I'm so sorry. Anybody who knows me, and I have friends for over 20 years, 30 years now going, and they will tell you, Tony will say some things you just have to you never think before you say that, but I grew up in a household like that. So imagine, I grew up with deaf parents. I was always allowed to express myself, always allowed to say how I feel. I wasn't allowed to be a part of adult conversations, but I was allowed to express myself. I'm not a typical Jamaican child. Nobody never tell me to shut up and go on in my room. You understand? Unless
not
it was...
seen and not heard.
No.
Not that.
My parents never did that to me. What's the problem? Why you look so? What happened? I was allowed to express myself. So when I went to school and I realized that, okay, you're not really allowed to express yourself, I couldn't. I couldn't conform, and I still can't conform, and I won't.
And to be clear, this is not about disrespect. We heard you say, some people said you were rude. And also so many people coming out to say Tony and rude cannot exist in the same sentence. But for some people, you just can't be too vocal, or too forthright.
Correct. They don't like assertiveness, and I think people don't like when they're wrong. I get that a lot. If you are of a certain status or stature, especially in our society, I'm not afraid to say it. They believe that they're always right. And if somebody who they feel like is not on their level, or somebody who they say, oh, you just a come, and you're saying something to me, then that's the reaction you will get. And unfortunately, a lot of people are not going to like me because I will keep quiet about a lot of things. I have opinions on many things. But when it comes to the deaf community, I will never keep quiet because I know that my experience and what I saw my parents go through, I can't. My parents would be embarrassed to know that I grew up seeing the struggles and this is happening and I'm not saying something and I have a platform, or I know some people who could make a change. I can't do that to them. If it is anything I want to leave on this earth, is a better life for deaf people. An inclusive life. I mean, full inclusion. Leisure, party, God, everything. It shouldn't just be politics. It should be everything. And that's my goal. And the only goal I have, to be honest. It wasn't like that before,
Yeah.
Now God say, yeah, this you have to do.
Yeah.
But it's my goal.
Purpose. We're going to talk more about your purpose, which you figured out, and how you ran. You ran from this purpose for so long. I'll play and you try to fly. Womp womp. We'll return after this. We'll be right back. folks, we're back with Tony, who tried her best, you hear her talking with all this passion and fire now, but she tried her best not to be interpreting. She didn't want to do this, and she explored other avenues. You were away for 2 years, trying to become a pilot.
Correct.
Didn't work out.
Didn't work out.
Came back home and explored, what, call centerisms at one point.
Yes. Police.
You didn't tell me that.
They never tell you that, because when I go and have the tattoo, they say,
Oh, no.
you have a tattoo, you can't join the force, man. So I didn't even, at the time, it was long ago, like 2000 and a good one, early 2000s.
But the irony is that every gig, every time something came up, when you were going for the call center job, every time you got an interview date, you would also get a gig to interpret. And I guess out of what, advocacy and passion and obligation, you would take those gigs because of your commitment to the deaf community.
Exactly. And to be honest, those gigs in the earlier days would have been a connection directly to a deaf person.
Gotcha.
So Deaf Sports Jamaica, Jamaica Association for the Deaf, people who were directly connected to the community were like, hey, we really need you. And I'd be like, okay. And I just said, I can't do that. I have to go here. And redirection every single time. Redirection. Just back there. Just going back. Back into interpreting every single time.
Until you realize, okay, let me do this for a bit. But then the rude awakening came when you were doing those jobs and fell on tough times. Like, there was a point in your life that you talked to me about where the bills could just not be paid. A lot of people don't know, including your parents who are watching now.
Yes.
They did not tell Tony that there were a couple of years recently enough where you were struggling.
Struggling beyond measure. My light get cut off, water get cut off, never had food. I got evicted. I remember even having a job one day, and I just never had the money to go. But I had faith. Well, what? Now I know that I had faith. Back then I never know what it was saying. I find a way. And I went out and I walked, stood up at a bus stop.
You're in Portmore at the time.
In Portmore. So I was going to Papine.
And you was going, so there's no walking?
No way could I walk, no. And I stood up at the bus stop and this lady, she just came and she just picked me up. I hadn't eaten for 3 days. And she stopped and she bought fruits. She didn't even know. She was just talking to me and I said, yeah, man, do your thing. And she gave me the fruits and she explained to me about, how I'm passionate about what I do and whatever. And she took me all the way. She wasn't going to Papine, she was going to New Kingston. And she took me all the way to Papine. Up to this day, I don't think she knew that I never had any money. I never ate, but she fed me and she carried me to location. That's something I'll never forget.
Gosh. Lady, I don't know who you are.
And I don't remember your name, sorry.
And that was a gig that you were going to that, thankfully, you were going to be paid right after.
Right after. That's the only reason why I took it, because if I wasn't going to be paid right after, then it wouldn't make any sense, because how would I then get back home? I could have walked from Papine to Portmore. So everything was just, again, it's like, it's just a circle taking me back. So I'm saying, no, this not make no sense, my God. But it's like, there's always a way, always a way.
And that was a tough time for you, obviously because of what you've said, but also because you are so fiercely independent that you didn't want to have to ask anybody for it. That's why your parents don't know until now.
No, and I never want them to know at all. And I didn't want them to feel like, I've always been an independent person. I don't like to ask people for things. A lot of people, I'll give you an example. Where I am now in life, a lot of people say, you're there on the right people, you have to ask them for what you want. And I'm like, that's probably why I'm around them, because I'm not beg them. You get? I've just always been that type of person. So when I was going through, I could have easily text my father, text my stepmother, text my mother. But I was like, no, sir. I don't want them to know that I'm going through this. I don't want nobody to know that I'm going through this. And the people that I felt like I could have connected with, I still never want them to know. Swallow my pride, and I got rejected. So it's like me, I say, better me just work through life. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
It's at one point you're sleeping on a cot.
On a cot.
You had no bed?
No bed. I got evicted, moved from Greater Portmore to Caymanas part in Portmore. I forgot that the community that I was living in. Moved there, lived there for a while, and I was sleeping on a cot. Something that soldiers sleep on in the bush or...
Somebody gave you the cot?
Yeah. Somebody
Slept
gave
on
me
the cot until the cot broke?
Until it broke. Until it broke. Like, literally, people just don't know what I've been through. And I've just always said, you know what? It will happen. You just have to believe it will happen. Nothing before it's time. Nothing before it's time. Nothing before it's time.
And a lot of that is God, too.
Facts.
Because you talk about him a lot, and I think having spoken to you, I understand why. Because there are many times when you couldn't see your way clear, but you're still here.
Facts. Every time I felt like this don't make no sense, something happened. It couldn't be man.
Could not be man.
Couldn't have been man. Had to be God. And a lot of people might wonder how she looks or behaves so and she talk about God, but God made me, you know. I never met myself, you know. I never say, ooh.
His image in his likeness.
This is how I want to look. No, God said,
and wonderfully.
I knew you before you were formed. He made me who I am, my purpose, everything, how I am, how I'm straightforward, how I look. Everything has a divine purpose. I never choose it. God choose it. So if you have a problem, you have to go talk to the big man. You have to take it up with the G because I cannot answer the questions.
And that is that on that. More with Tony after this. You hear? Back with Tony, everybody. Tony, you're talking about some of the things that you've had to weather. You say the fact that you're here still and where you are could not be man, had to be God. Want of time, you just shared with us, but generally in your life, you've had to deal with a lot of judgment.
Definitely.
Like just at face value.
Definitely. Just how I look, I remember, big up to Mrs. Heather Cook, former clerk of Parliament. I remember there was a media personnel who came in the Parliament and said, you can't dress so, you know, you cannot wear pants, you have to dress feminine, the rules of the house. And it's like, he made me feel uncomfortable. I reported him to Mrs. Cook, and she removed him from that area. So I've always had judgment, but for some reason I've always had that one angel, not only Mrs. Cook, many, many more people, who just always seem to pop up and just, it's like a shield. It's like, again, it cannot be man, has to be God. Telling these people, guiding these people.
And confidence is something that you say you've also struggled with.
Oh, definitely. I struggled with confidence because, you know, I grew up with deaf parents. And not only that, you know, people would judge me based on how I look, who my parents are, how I'd be straightforward. Sometimes, you know, my confidence level was low for a period of time. But you wouldn't know that by looking at me. You could never tell. Because I am great at projecting and masking what's inside. Because my whole life has been service, if you really think about it. So it's not really about me. So I have to be confident to do what I need to do. So any room I go in, I know what I'm doing. I'm good at it. So I'm confident about that. So that is what would make people say, boy, she confident. You look how she just... But there was a period of time I wasn't comfortable with how I looked because I know the society I'm from. I knew that I would get judgment. I knew people would not give me jobs because of how I look, or they would try to avoid to give me jobs because of how I look. So those were the things that impacted my confidence, but I also knew that I had a purpose. And it was bigger than me. My parents and my parents' friends and every deaf friend that I have. It's not about me. It's about them. And I say that in every interview because I want people to get it. My community is the deaf community. Everybody, I not say I not like hearing people, because I don't want to feel away, because I have a whole heap of hearing friend. But my community is the deaf community, and deaf people matter to me first, because at a time in their life, they were on nobody's list. But I let them know on my list, number one, after God, of
That's
course.
why you step outside yourself and what was comfortable to you the other day to speak out, because you wouldn't have in other circumstances.
No, I wouldn't have.
Because there's so many narratives that have been spun, Tony, that you've sat and watched. Political, I see people saying, why Tony thinks she must be the one to... I'm like, people aren't listening.
They're not.
It wasn't Tony who said it. Like, the people consulted said, Tony's the right person, because when you sit and you read people in the space saying all these things and spinning all these stories, and to you it's like, it was worth it, because
it's for the community.
So a part of what your wider purpose now is, having made an impact on a national scale now, you've decided that you want to build up capacity. You want to train people up so that it doesn't have to be Tony all the time.
Correct.
Or that outside of what the impact you have on a national scale, you want to go into communities, because you find even when you go to schools, Tony, there are young people saying to you, they're okay with their parents being deaf because you are okay with your parents being deaf and you've given them a voice.
Correct. When my next goal in life, I've spent 20 years doing this. My next goal is to train people. I have young coders. Coders are children of deaf adults who work with me.
Okay.
I'm training them. But it requires resources. I can't do it alone. I can't get up and say, okay, I'm just going to teach everybody and then not have resources to maintain living for myself, a life for myself. Resources are necessary so that I can upskill, so that after upskilling, it doesn't have to be me. There wouldn't be an issue today. Right. There wouldn't be an issue, because people would have been there and they would have been ready. Mm-hmm. And people also have to remember, these people, young interpreters who are coming, they're in their 20s. They're just starting. They start at the same age like me, 18, 19. Mm-hmm. They're new. It takes time. And I'm helping them, and I help anybody can tell you. Once it comes to sign language, you want to learn, I tell you where to go. You want to learn to interpret, you reach a certain level, I say, come work with me. If I feel like you can't manage what I do, I expose you to other people. Other people will see you with me and even call you and don't call me, because that's what's happening. Mm-hmm. So I'm always helping people.
Mm-hmm. You told me that this has been one of the toughest periods that you've ever had to go through. There have been others, but this one has been tough. But you say you see this as just God's way of saying to you, my child, this is your purpose. You need to walk. How do you process all of this, Tony? How have you been processing it?
You find that a lot of people have been checking on my mental health. I appreciate that. A lot of people have been texting me and saying, hey, you're okay, don't make them get you down here. You're good, you're good, whatever. But it's impacting me because I don't want anybody to ever feel, I don't want my reputation to be tarnished. I worked 20 years. As I tell you, Simone, this week people know I could talk. I swear. If you don't know me, people see me and they're like, oh, the dumb lady that, no, for true. And I just look at them and I just don't say anything. Because I say, okay, you know what, this is not going to work. But my mental health is okay. Because I know, say God, I say, yo, I just one of them things there. Mm-hmm. It's just a journey. Mm-hmm. It's a journey. Mm-hmm. If you don't go through bad, you can't have gratitude for good.
You said the battle is hot, but the harder the battle,
the sweeter the victory.
Hey. Okay. On that note, Lorianne Johnson, please do your thing.
Hi, Tony. So very proud of you. So very proud of you. You've always been so passionate about this cause. It's seen in your work. It's seen how you operate within your family. You're not only advocating for them in public, but you also advocate for your family members within family. So I know how passionate you are about this. It's coming from a place of honesty and of true integrity. I'm so proud of you, and keep fighting, keep shining a light on this, and keep doing a great job. Love you.
Hi, Tony. You are truly incredible, a legend to us in the deaf community. Your dedication, strength, and tireless fight for accessibility have inspired us all. We are deeply grateful for your hard work and unwavering commitment. You are an inspiration, and we honor you with the respect and love you deserve.
Hello, cousin. I just wanted to say I'm proud of you for all your accomplishments. A lot of the stuff I like to brag about to my friends, saying that all the cool stuff that you've done, and I'm just glad that you're able to achieve all that. And I want to say I love you.
Hi, Tony. I just want you to know how proud I am of you. Watching the woman you've become, so strong, so beautiful, so full of light, has been a blessing. You inspire everyone around you with your courage, your kindness, and your heart. Tony, never forget how deeply loved you are. You are a shining star in this family, and we see you, we honor you, and we celebrate everything that you are. So keep walking in your purpose, because the world needs your light. We are with you, cheering for you, and we will always be by your side. I love you so much, Tony.
You know, I've seen what's been happening on social media and within the deaf community, and it's kind of sad to see what's happening. I've known you all your life, and this is your passion. You grew up this way. This is basically, I would say, your first language, not even your second language. I grew up in the same house, and I actually can't sign like what you can do, and it's just sad to see that. And you are a great person with your spirit, your personality. You know, you take on everybody's weight on your shoulder. So I give you your flowers, cousin, and continue to strive for the best.
My dear niece, I want you to know that what you do is not just a career, it's a ministry. Since you were only 2 years old, you have been the voice for your parents, and now you extend that gift to the entire deaf community. You serve with professionalism, dignity, and above all, love. I'm so proud of you for all your accomplishments, the challenges you have faced, and for building 20 years of business out of pure passion and zeal for the community you love. That is the difference you bring, and that is why you stand out. Your parents see you, your community sees you, and we see you. Don't let fear, intimidation, or injustice silence your voice. Keep going. Your voice is powerful and it is needed. Continue the work. It is important. Love you.
Tony, your Uncle Al and I are proud of your achievement as an advocate for the deaf community. You have done much to educate them about what is going on in our country and in their community. It's obvious that this is a labor of love for you.
Hello, Tony. This is your grandma. I'm so proud of you, my first granddaughter. You have accomplished so much, and you deserve to be recognized. Continue to serve your deaf community as you have been doing all your life, and I pray God's blessing over you. Remember, no matter what, God will see you through. Love you, my granddaughter, and keep up the good work.
Hi, Tony. We have done a lot together over the past couple of years. We've failed together, grown, experienced challenges, as not only as interpreters but as coders. I mean, every day we know the struggle and the test that we have to go through and experience. But all in all, I appreciate you. I thank you for everything that you have done for the deaf community, but personally, thank you for always encouraging me and standing beside me every and anything. I love you, my friend, my co-worker, most importantly, my sister.
Hi, Tony. I hope you are well. It's me, your brother. I just want to say that I am really proud to have you as my sister. You're very supportive towards the deaf community, and you really do cherish the deaf people. And I continue to learn from you, the truly amazing person you are. And the deaf community in Jamaica is progressing, and more awareness is being brought towards JSL, and this is all due to your perseverance in advocating for the deaf community, and it's actually improving. I just want to say you are a good person, role model, and a lot of people look up to you. You are the best sister ever. You always take care of me, materially and emotionally. I love you.
I am happy and proud that my daughter by the name Toni Aiken, and this is her sign name because she's very fluent in Jamaican Sign Language. She's well known by the deaf community as a professional interpreter who was born and raised in the deaf community. She gives me the ability to associate with my family comfortably as I am deaf. I just want to let everybody know that I am proud and I love my daughter. She's doing the deaf community a really good deed by providing access and giving the deaf the comfort of access. I love you, Toni.
Oh, nice. Nice to hear that.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think you did need a little showing up in this time.
Yes.
But they speak on behalf of Holy Pa. I mean, you told me when you go on the street, people are like, "See a star, you know."
Say a general, you know.
So we got you back, girl.
Yeah,
People are aware of what you're doing and why you're doing it, and so that has to just be your impetus to keep walking in your purpose. When we come back, Toni gives us a word for the folks who are going through stuff, a word to the deaf community as well. Take a break and lead the show with Toni when we come back. All right, folks, we're back to lead the show with Toni today, and I asked you the word you had for the deaf community, and just the word you had for people who are, I always try to ask my guests, like people who are struggling and carrying stuff, who feel they can't see the other side. Because that's why I invite everybody here, is to let people know that there is another side. And if you keep going, right?
Yeah.
The only way out of anything is through it.
It's through it.
And it's hard through, but out is great.
Out is great.
Out is fantastic. So to the deaf community, you want to tell them?
So to the deaf community, I want to tell them to keep fighting for their rights.
Show up,
stand up, advocate, show people why you can, because I know you can. And anyone who is in the deaf community knows that any deaf person can. So it's time for us to show that, you know, we can and we will and we must. And imagine 20, 30 years from now, I expect all deaf people to be doing whatever it is that their dreams and passions are.
But a lot of them are putting it on hold.
Right, because right now there are barriers.
Correct.
And they can't get that access. And for the Jamaica on a whole, anybody who is struggling, the first thing I say is believe in God, have faith, because only God can help you through sometimes. Sometimes people will say the right things, but it doesn't necessarily help you. But in a moment, God will send the right person with the right message. And you will know when it's God. Trust me. Because I experience it daily. So, trust in God, believe in God, and everything will happen and work. Nothing happens overnight. It took me many, 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 many years to be at a place of gratitude for everything that I have. And I think it's just important to persevere.
Yeah.
And once you persevere and you have faith and you believe, nothing can stop you. Nothing.
You told me that, you know, you were close to God for a period. In your teens, not so much, but in your 20s, you got close to him again. And one of the things you said to me is, boy, Simone, no matter how me try, shun him.
Yes.
Shun him just come and say hello. Do you know who's, do you know whose you are?
Correct.
And so that faith that carries you, that gratitude that you have from, you know, a place where you never had much to know, you said just walking and seeing your TV in your room.
Yeah, just the
watch
TV,
on your hand.
the watch on my hand, or even a fan. One time I never have a fan. Even the fan. No, it's true. Everything. I have gratitude for everything, for the shoes that I wear, the clothes that I wear, the watch on my hand, the bed I sleep in, the bed I sleep in.
Not a cot.
Not a cot.
A bed.
A bed. A nice, big, soft bed too. You know?
Yeah.
So I have gratitude for everything.
Yeah.
And that's why I say you have to go through bad in order to understand good.
Yep.
Because if I hadn't experienced all those things, I wouldn't have a gratitude for a bed.
That's right.
I wouldn't have gratitude for a TV or a fan. But because of my experience, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for us to turn on the light when we reach home and say, light there.
No
you know?
cutoffs.
No cutoffs.
No cutoffs, no eviction notices.
Correct.
God is our good God.
Good God.
I'm glad you were here. Thank you for coming and sitting with me today.
And
sharing a little bit more of yourself outside of your signing.
Thank you for having me here.
I think you're amazing. You know that from a long time.
Yeah.
Adastra sister.
Yes.
Immaculate Conception sister. Changing lives and changing the world. Keep your eye on this one, okay? Big things, bigger things are in store. Time for affirmation, guys, before we go. You know, we have to leave you with a word. So my question to you today, one of several, is what message are you conveying? What is your speech saying? Whether you say that with your hands or with your mouth, what is happening in your heart? Are you lending your voice to the people who need it in pursuit of the right kind of power? For peace, in purpose? Yes, that might come with some persecution, but that's all part of the journey and part of the plan. So here's what you do, folks. You just keep pushing. It will be okay because you are in good hands. Tonight we are affirming, my voice is purpose-filled. I will use it for good. And that is our soul food and our show for this evening. Thank you for watching. We are back next week with another story of the power of the human spirit. And until then, every blessing to you. And please remember, right, whether it's a bed, a fan, or the light turning on, please remember to count your blessings. Okay, night everyone.